How's it going, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new post-commentary live testing match. We've got Mermail Atlantean on the left, piloted by me, and my friend playing Pure Mekk Knight over on the right. Actually playing my build, as he did not have his own build put together at the time. But our builds are pretty similar for the most part. Maybe, 3 or 4 card difference at most, I would say. So pretty standard builds here. But we're going to get right into it. I win die roll. And this is also one of those games that I believe the die roll... Actually, I don't know if I won the die roll. This is one of those games where the die roll doesn't really entirely matter because I want to go first, he wants to go second, etc., etc. But interestingly enough, both of our decks can sort of swap roles if need be. I'm comfortable with having to go second, and his deck is, of course, can be, pretty comfortable with going first. Mekk Knight with the Scars play and Girsu, just much better opportunities for better going first place. So the Diva goes through, thankfully, thanks to the help of that Call by the Grave. Activating the Minstrel here, discarding itself and Dragoons, knocking a purple Nightfall out of his hand. Not really much else of value to hit in his hand. So it's just kind of whatever there, but still nonetheless I get to see what his hand looks like, and just try to go from there. Obviously see what he's playing, get a heads up on all of that. But now there's a little bit of an interesting, I guess I don't know what I would call it. It's just a coincidence, I guess, with what I ended up seeing in his hand. Obviously, you see Monster Reborn and 3 other monsters, and we'll get to that and why that matters when the board is pretty much completed. So, linking into Halqifibrax now with Diva and Dragoons. It's going to go ahead and summon out Fishborg Launcher, and test hand video for this deck for Mermail should be going up soon. I had to record it a second time because the first time I had some audio issues. I also may record it a third time just because the second time I recorded I was a little tired and not quite what I wanted in terms of, compared to the first time I did it, etc., etc. So, yeah, my end board ends up being the Adamantipated Risen Dragite and Halqifibrax and the Alacia equipped with Mizuchi. So, obviously that's not, super ideal because, he only had a Monster Reborn in hand. But the problem, my end board usually, this is usually what I end on regardless because I don't play other level 8 synchros other than Dragite. Arguably, I could play Borreload Savage Dragon, which is something I might move to in the future. Not removing Dragite. I still might keep Dragite, but I might move to just adding in Borreload Savage Dragon. But, the thing is, with this particular board, it would have been pretty hard to make that live, with having the extra Link Engrave. Because the reason I like this play is because, I have the Halqifibrax to tag out into Formula to give me a draw, which is thus going to fuel my Alacia. And here, importantly, as this is a testing match, trying not to make the worse off play if I can help it. So, correcting myself and putting that Formula not in the same column as Mizuchi. And so his Blue Sky doesn't resolve for 2. So he's going to go ahead and go for Blue Sky over in that other column where Dragite is. And search out a card. Girsu going to resolve and going to destroy that set card with the Marksman. I'm discarding off Alacia to search Teus. And ends up being that Monster Reborn. So he's going to go into Lib, the World Keyblade Master. And not really too concerned about that here because I do have, again, I have Dragite to sort of follow up with any spell or trap he might go ahead and play here from said Lib, the World Keyblade Master. So, though his hand, the hand that I was able to look at, didn't have too much spell and trap, stuff for me to negate, it just sort of ends up playing out, in my favor, so to speak. So, yeah, that's just what I wanted to bring up. I didn't have any other cards in my action deck, really. I didn't make 2 spell and trap interruptions, because I thought that's what I needed. That's just sort of the go-to end board. And I think it's a pretty decent board. It's a negate. It can be a negate with a pop if you have Alacia set up, and also 2 more pops and a draw with the Satellite Warrior combo, which I've been growing more and more fond of every time. So now you see he's going to link into Morningstar using Lib. And that's going to do one of two things. It's going to chain block the Morningstar, give him a discard outlet, obviously, for that World Legacy World Chalice, and go ahead and net him a search off of Morningstar. So pretty solid play right there. I mean, not really resulting in too much, but netting him a lot of advantage elsewhere other than in the link department. And yeah, so here I'm going to try to use Formula as he enters battle phase. And he's going to have the Ghost Ogre for it, which is going to prove to be a very, very clutch Ghost Ogre. Because had that Satellite Warrior gone out and, gone through, both of his back row are gone right there. The memory or secrets, whatever it may be. And that's just very, very rough for him. Very, very hard for him to deal with at that point, just having a Morningstar. So, Deep Sea Aria, pretty good top deck there for me. That's going to go ahead and net me a Dragoons by banishing that Gamma Seal from Grave. I'm going to go ahead and get myself Pike and a copy of Prince. And you can sort of see where this play might be going. Just a little rank 4 setup with the normal summon of Pike, discarding Prince, of course. Prince targeting Dragoons. And I believe I go ahead and search Gund here off of this Pike. Now, again, I know he has something like Secrets on the board, so I'm going to go ahead and use Dragite right then and there because I do want this Pike to go through, and I do not want to let him establish Secret because once he does, it's sort of going to be like quicksand. And things are only just going to get worse than me having to dodge, in certain columns. So I decided just to get that out right then and there. Now, he does have a copy of Memory here, so in theory, he could have chained the Memory to that of Dragite and summoned out something in the same column as Dragite and negated both things, but opting not to do so, which is a little interesting to see. Not entirely sure why, but he ends up holding the Memory until now, I suppose, just to block damage, to be able to block damage, and be able to sort of have a guaranteed trigger of purple, because I guess otherwise he would have had to gone maybe for something like Indigo to get a little more value out of the play as far as negation is concerned, but this way he's able to at least I guess force the battle phase and still get the effect of his purple. But then again, I don't know, I think maybe the better play there would have been to just go for the Memory follow-up in response to that of the Dragite. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and resolve Bahamut Shark here in main phase 2, just so I can obviously attack with it. After you use its detach effect, you cannot attack with it for the rest of the turn, so I figured I'd attack first, then use the effect later if I can help it, and use Dragoons to search Diva for a follow-up for next turn. And feeling pretty good. Now, here I do have like a leftover, Teus and Bahamut Shark. I was kind of debating on what to do with those. To be totally honest, I probably should have made a Mistar Boy just for the global attack boost because of what, I didn't foresee here. I mean, I knew it was a thing, but I just really wasn't super paying attention at the moment. And it would probably made much more sense right now to do it because had I made Mistar Boy with Bahamut and Teus, my Toad would be at 2,700, my Dragite at 35, and making it so that he would not be able to just go into the battle phase and, force the Toad out, and removing it in the battle phase. So that was a big flaw. He's going to go ahead and use the World Legacy World Chalice, or the Cup, to search Secret, and battle phase, lo and behold, swing over the Toad for 300 since it was only at 22. But yeah, hindsight's 2020. I definitely should have linked off those two for Mistar Boy. Granted, he could have still gone into battle phase and attacked over the Mistar Boy with one of his purples. I still would have took 6 there, and then another 3 over the over the Toad. But I would have gotten 2 cards back in the process as opposed to just 1. But then again, hindsight is 2020. It's just a simple play. I should have seen, but this match was also one of the first matches I played with Mermail in a good while. So if I'm a little rusty, I do apologize, but just trying to test out a build that I've had together for a little while, just haven't had that time to actually like put in the testing hours with. And luckily I had some friends over the other week, and we were able to test a few decks, you know, Block BA, Mermail, Infernoble, and Pure Mekk Knight, as I'm sure you guys have seen that duel video already of Infernoble versus Pure Mekk Knight, so check that out if you haven't already. You see this Mekk Knight deck on the right in action again against Infernoble in that video. If it interests you, feel free to check it out. But as you can see here in main phase 2, going for Lib. Lib is going to set that World Legacy's Memory, which is obviously going to be a pretty good card to have paired with his secret that he searched out earlier this turn. So going to have a pretty decent lockdown going to the next turn. And this time around, the one Dragite interruption is still probably not going to be enough, as he goes for Morningstar here. And yeah, not even the fact that Dragite's going to even be around to have anything to say about it. So because of that Lib effect engrave, to spin it back. Luckily for me, I have Gamma Seal. So that's going to clear the, you know, continuous like effect of Morningstar, which is going to be a pain, you know, to deal with already, because that's going to force me to have to put something in the same column as it, which thus will give it a, you know, a chance to be negated because of secret. So, you know, the Gamma Seal also provided me sort of a safe zone, to have this normal summon that is Deep Sea Diva, which is fantastic. But my main issue here is that I do not have any princes left in deck. So I only have an infantry, which is going to force me to go into the Bujinki Ahashima, which is sort of like a last-ditch effort here, because I do have a Megalo in hand and a Teus engrave. So I'm going to be using that link effect here to go for a 7 in hand and a 7 engrave, and go for a Mermail Abyss Gaios, coming out of 2800, which is exactly what I need in this situation. So I go for the battle phase here, again, force out the purple effect, and then I just go right into or continue into battle phase, attack over that of the Gamma Seal, and then try to swing in directly here. But he is going to chain the secrets to go ahead and bring out Red Moon, which is going to block that attack of Ahashima, and I pretty much have no other choice but to end turn there. He's going to have the memory in the end phase as well, and it's just going to all spiral out of control from there. So, yeah, you know, he's got Red Moon in the same column as my Gaios. We all know how that is going to play out. So, as we move into game 2 here, a quick shout out to our sponsor over at Imperium Duelist. If you guys are interested in picking up either of these playmats that we're using here, you can get them all for 10% off using that discount code. Winter Kills 10 off at checkout. Link to their website down below. And of course that discount code as well. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, do not forget to use that affiliate link down below, because a small bit of revenue from your purchase will go back into the channel, which of course is greatly appreciated and helps, you know, to allow me to keep making videos like this on a regular basis. Same thing with becoming a channel member. So Prince going through here, and same thing with the Deep Sea Minstrel. It's going to knock a impermanence out of his hand, which is pretty nice. And of course, at this point, I know he's also got a Ghost Ogre, so I've got to be pretty careful about it. Just kidding, no I don't, because I've got a Call by the Grave in hand here. So I'm expecting it to come at any point. And of course, you know, on the Megalo there, we can see he's going to fire it off, and I've got a Call by the Grave just so our Megalo play can go through. And I'm also resolving the effect of Dragoons and Prince in the graveyard here, deciding on what to add off of the Dragoons, whether I want to go for Lapis Dragon to try to set up some Halqifibrax plays, or try to go for the tried and true Alacia play. Now, I did banish that of my Minstrel, so a different play I could have made here that I didn't see, you know, beforehand. It was to go into something like Coral Anemone instead of Alacia, because then I could have brought back the Minstrel to make Halqifibrax with, and thus go into something like Dragite on top of the board I already had. So that is something, again, I just didn't see, obviously, until after the fact, and I'm a little rusty with this deck. That's going to be my excuse. I was a little rusty with Mermail and a little rusty in the IRL dueling scene, as it had been a little while since I played IRL. upon the time of us recording these matches. So definitely looking forward to getting back in the groove of things as things start to ease up and open up a little bit more, especially at least in my area. So yeah, very, very happy for that, and very excited again to continue filming some awesome matches for you guys at Locals again soon, and in my new studio recording space. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff to come in the future in terms of live duels. So going into the battle phase here now, I don't know if I just miscalculated how many life points my opponent had, even though I'm calculating them on my phone. For some reason, I think I could have attacked with the Alacia that I had and gone for game, because I had also miscalculated the amount of extra damage that I got off the Alacia pointed to both the Pike and the Megalo. I subconsciously made Alacia point to them, but I must have forgot about the attack boost. But either way, it doesn't matter. My opponent ends up scooping, and we head into a Game 3 situation where I am going to be made to go first. So feeling pretty good about that at least. And we're going to resolve Prince here, and going to send Dragoons to add Dragoons and Minstrel. And then we're going to pitch Dragoons and Minstrel to hit a Phantasme out of his hand. Really not too much else in his hand for me to hit a value. All I know is that his hand is really good. He's got memory, so if I can at least put up a spell trap negate for that, I'm probably already in a better off spot. But he's still got blue sky, he's still got purple, so off to just again like a really fantastic start. So using the deep sea aria here, and I make the mistake, in hindsight here, of banishing the Minstrel. I should probably leave that engraved for the tuner access, to allow myself to go into something like Halqifibrax. With just 2 waters, Anemone being able to revive it. For some reason, I just have an affinity with keeping Dragoons engraved. I mean, I do play Pot of Avarice, so I guess that's one little subconscious reason as to why I do it. But, I do see the importance of leaving it in the graveyard, so you can pull off something like, Anemone, bringing it back just to set up a nice, simple Halqifibrax with that tuner. So, Dragoons adding me Moulin here, and Prince summoning Dragoons. And the board not looking too great. I decided to not add Moulin here, but instead go for Lapis Dragon, because again, I'm thinking, I need that tuner. I want that tuna. So I go for the tuna and go for that Halqifibrax to summon out the Fishborg launcher. So I guess I still had a way to get to it, but it's a little different, a little off the beaten path, I guess. Anemone would have still been a pretty decent way to go about it. This way works just as good, though. Still getting my Alacia set up, a way to equip my Mizuchi. And again, I've got at least the stop for that memory. And I've got, I believe, infantry in hand as well. So I've got a pop off of Alacia plus a search, a draw from Halqifibrax, a negate from the Dragite, and a pop 2, potential pop 2 from the Satellite Warrior play. So he's going right into the battle phase here and attempting to swing over Halqifibrax, whereas upon, leaving the main phase, attempt to leaving main phase, I'm going to chain Halqifibrax to get a draw. He's going to attempt to leave main phase again. I'm going to go ahead and use Alacia here to pitch infantry to add the Teus, and thus popping the Avram, which is pretty big because that's his normal summon right out the window. It still feels pretty good to stop that, especially in a deck like Mekk Knight, where the normal summon can be a pretty pivotal play. And going to go into Satellite Warrior here. He's going to chain that purple Nightfall, and knowing he only had that memory in hand as being the only spell trap in his hand, at least at the time that I saw his hand, clearing that off the field is pretty decent, because he's going to be pretty hard pressed to find any other way to make a column after wiping that card off the field and him not being able to get any value out of it. And my Satellite Warrior, since it did destroy 1 card, purple was able to dodge its way out of destruction. It'll still gain 1,000, putting it up to 35. So Deep Sea Diva here are going to be the normal summon for the turn, so feeling obviously very, very good about that. Sending infantry, I believe, here to add infantry. Not many targets left in the deck here. I know the Phantasme, I believe, is back in his hand. I believe that was this game that I knocked a Phantasme out of his hand. Yeah, so I mean, I know what it is technically, but I may or may have let it slip my mind. But either way, it ultimately won't make too big of a difference. he's going to go for that Phantasmate, pick up 3 cards, put 2 back. But again, I've got Teus with infantry in hand here, so it's going to be Chainlink 2, Teus, Chainlink 1 infantry. He can't negate the infantry, thus, you know, allowing me to freely pop his Phantasmate. And then with the extra 500 attack boost on the, you know, Mastar Boy and the Teus with the 3500 Satellite Warrior, you know, and the Elasi being boosted up by 800 as well, that's just going to be game outright. So Mermail is taking the match 2-1 against Pure Mekk Knight. I think this match can go either way. I don't think one deck really has sort of a huge, major overall advantage, but a pretty nice match nonetheless. And feeling pretty good with Mermail again. Again, a test hand video should be going out to you guys very, very soon. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, a special thanks to my Divine Level channel members here on YouTube, Academic Thick, Travis Harris, and Zors. Thank you guys so much for the continued support.